Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, March 17th, 2026. I'll repeat that again. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope your Tuesday is going well here on the 17th day of March 2026. And the reason why I repeated myself a couple of times is it really March or is it actually June or July? Let me know in the chat. I already know what day it is and what month it is, because we're witnessing something extraordinary across the West here, and I thought I would do a live discussion on this today because this is making a lot of news headlines, not just on the news, but also on social media. A lot of people really talking about it, so I thought I would kind of intervene myself and talk about it myself here with you all in today's live weather discussion. And also, there's not a whole lot going on in the United States in terms of weather outside of this heat dome over the next week or two. So that's why I thought, yeah, why not? Let's just do a live stream and talk about this for a while, for about an hour or so. So, as you all know, big time heat ridge is impacting much of the West. And I'll tell you, wait until you see some of the graphics that I'm about to show you in this live stream today, because this is pretty unrelenting. This is something that I've not ever seen in my entire life or felt at all. And I'm not saying this to hype things up, to cause fear, to cause panic. No, that's not what I'm here for. No, this is truly something we have not seen in the Intermountain West, Interior West, or even California since possibly the mid-1900s in some sense. So this is truly extraordinary of what we're witnessing here across much of the Interior West. So what we have right now on satellite, let's actually zoom out here and look at most of the United States just to kind of get our bearings straight here. So we have a nice good weather system that brought a lot of snow across much of the Great Lakes region, across Wisconsin. You could even see, yeah, there's snow there. Yeah, there's snow. There's a little bit of a weather system coming on down, bringing a little bit more snow with it over Minnesota and Iowa. Although that storm doesn't look nearly as strong as what you guys just witnessed with the historic amount of snow in parts of Wisconsin. And yeah, it's winter back here. It is still technically winter in astronomical terms until Friday at around 7:39 in the morning. Pacific daylight time, and then we go into spring. But man, it is definitely feeling like winter back here across much of the eastern half of the nation, except over here in parts of Texas and the High Plains. It is starting to feel like spring as that ridge really nudges in. And boy, oh boy, back over here across much of the Intermountain West, Interior West, it is summertime. Yeah, I don't care if it's still wintertime or if it's about to be spring. No, it is summertime, because the temperatures that we're going to be feeling over the next few days will be those that are typically felt in, say, late June or perhaps early July in some degree of sense, depending on how you look at this. It is clear, it is dry across the West, big ridge of high pressure that is really in control of the weather. And if we actually go here and go to, not that, let's go to our 500 millibar geopotential heights. Yeah, look at that. That's a big ridge that is in California. Nice, good northwesterly flow. Not severe weather frenzy for a lot of the Midwest. This is descending dry, colder air moving in out of the north down to the south. So no sort of severe weather coming on in anytime soon as this trough moves on through. You did have some pretty good severe weather over the last few days here in parts of the Midwest and the eastern seaboard, but that for another day, because boy, oh boy, the big talk is now on this ridge. It's not just meeting my attention, but it's also Mark Sedeth on Hurricane Track has been talking about this. Eric Webb as well. Daniel Swain, which is a great climatologist, has been also talking about this. Even Oppenheimer Ranch Project and a few others out there. And my stream just went out. Oh, are we good? Are we back? Can anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? Like we just went out there for a second. Let me know if you guys could hear me. So, yeah, so big time ridge here back west, and it is getting everyone's attention. So let's actually look at something new that I wanted to introduce you all. This is something that is not really, this is publicly available, but not many people are using it. And let's go to here. Let's look at this first. This is a 12Z European deterministic model run, and this is as far. This is looking at the anomalous ridge across the west here. And as we actually zoom in here a little bit more, oops, can we? There we go. Yeah, so when we now talk about this heat dome, now, of course, is this historic? Of course it is. Is it unprecedented on an overall scale? No, it isn't. Because the reason why that is because we're not going to talk about 120 degrees in Phoenix, Arizona. We're not looking at 125 degrees in Death Valley. No, we're not going that extreme with the temperatures with this. But the time of the year that we're in really makes this quite anomalous. This is something that we don't always see all the time. And this is why this is getting everybody's attention. This ridge of high pressure. So that's why I thought today would be a good time to discuss with what we're dealing with here. So as we go forward in time, I don't know if anybody could hear me. I don't think anybody can. Testing. That's why I had this on subscribers only. Let me take that off just with this session. All right, there we go. So it should work now. You guys should be able to say hi now. So yeah, I had chat off this whole time. Sorry about that. Perfect. So this is the ridge that we're talking about across the West, and this is breaking all-time records. People are saying, oh, we're going to look at daily records. Well, that is a guarantee at this point. We're going to go for the daily records even here at home. But we are going to see monthly records, numerous days, not just 1 day or 2 days. No, we're looking at monthly records throughout the entire work week here into the weekend that covers Saturday perhaps. And it's because of this high pressure center. Look how strong this high gets. This is a big deal right here. And if we actually zoom in, let's actually go over to North America. Let's go here to the, let's go to the United States. That will get us a little closer in on this. Yeah, so look at how strong this high is. So now what, of course, you're looking at here is a legend showing percentile rank here. So yellow colors here is in the 90th percentile. So that's up there. It's not all-time record territory. But then you get these dark red colors. This is in the 99th percentile. That is near all-time record. And this pink area here on your screen, let's actually, right about in here. See this pink area that I've highlighted here in yellow? That is all-time record high geopotential heights measured in decameters. Okay, so this is basically the height of the atmosphere or a thickness of the atmosphere. So when you look at this and say, oh, it's 594 decameters, I know decameters is in meteorological terms is pretty easy to say, but in the everyday weather business, people really don't understand it. But simply take away the zero here and you get just a 594. So that is 5,940 meters in the atmosphere. So that's basically the level at which the 500 millibar layer actually is. So across this map, the 500 millibar layer is not unison. It's not exactly at 500 millibars. All right, there is no perfect match here. And so when we look at 594 here back west, it's higher up than, so you have to go a little higher up to get to the 594 or about 5,940 meters to get up to that pressure level. Versus over here where it's 534 decameters where the heights are lower. And that means you don't have to go as far up to get to the 500 millibar layer, which means colder air usually yields lower heights versus warmer air here back west usually yields higher heights. And this is on an extraordinary level here. Now, while it's not here on this model, I'll show you something that does show something even higher than 594 here on the European model. But long story short, this ridge of high pressure is not seen typically in July. We're not seeing something typically seen in July or August across the Intermountain West. Yes, this ridge is typical for July and August, but it is not typical for March, okay? I mean, it is right now outside my doorstep. It is 85 degrees at 1:40 in the afternoon. This is just after solar noon, which is when the sun is highest in the sky because we went an hour forward. Solar noon is an hour later, so it's not 1:09. It's not 12:09 for local time. It is now 1:09 in the afternoon, which means that's when the sun is highest. So we're just past solar noon, and it is already about 85 degrees outside, and it could get close to 90 today. I wouldn't be surprised if we push 86 or 87 today, maybe even 88 degrees if that. If we hit 88 today, we're more likely going to hit 90 tomorrow, and then possibly the mid-90s by the end of the work week, which, again, for my area, for this time of the year, I do not remember it hitting mid-90s in my 30 years of being here in California. This is really something. So, long story short, all-time record high temperatures and heights across the West. If we look at the 850 millibar temperatures here, and this is basically an overall summary of, okay, what are the temperatures like at 850 millibars, right? Are they above normal or are they below at normal? Because that's basically the fixed layer for the sun angle that we're in, is where that layer of temperatures, at least over my area, doesn't change a whole lot. So we can make a rough ballpark estimate of how warm it's going to get based on the low-level temperature anomalies and the low-level temperatures themselves. And so, of course, if we go back to this afternoon, you can see this not much record heat here across the far interior west, like the Four Corners, like in the higher elevations. We're not looking at anything in the record max, but really back over here in California and parts of Arizona, right in here is where we're looking at 99th percentile or greater. Record max here in pink. This is basically saying that anything in pink here is all-time record highs for the month of March. We've never been this high in the month of March, nor are we going to be this high in the month of March probably for a while. Probably, I don't see us getting this hot again probably for another 25 or 30 years, just because of how rare it is for us to reach this magnitude of warming temperatures in the lower parts of the atmosphere. And this expands. This really gets going. So today, not so bad in the Rockies, but really look at how warmer it gets tomorrow in the higher elevations. Even in parts of Colorado, you could be looking at daily record high temperatures for tomorrow for your Wednesday afternoon. Pretty much all of California, and yeah, that is it. All of California here pretty much, or 99.9% of California is in pink. That is all-time record high. All of Nevada is also in that benchmark of record max here. That's the pink here on the legend. That's the worst category you could get with a heat wave like this, and it gets even more expansive as we go into Thursday. I mean, all of Nevada, all of California, all of Arizona, pretty much all of Utah are seeing record max temperatures. Even so, yeah, it's not going to be 100 degrees in Utah. It's not going to be 100 degrees in Nevada. Maybe Lake Havasu down here in, say, in Las Vegas could get close to hitting 100 degrees there. But the point here is it not reaching 100 degrees. The point here is the time of the year that we're in, how rare this is going to be, and just how impactful it's going to have on the ecological side of things, such as the human body, such as crops and everything, that typically are not accustomed to this. And this is going to continue all the way into Friday. Look at just this big heat dome is just going to be in place over the West. 3 to 4 days of this record heat over California, Nevada, the Four Corners. Man, this is really something that everybody is going to be talking about. And look at even a fourth day here, even into Saturday. parts of California here could have record warmest temperatures. Again, all-time record highs through Saturday for the West, for California, for sure in Arizona. And that could even continue all the way into, this is Sunday. This is Sunday next week. And might as well keep that going perhaps even into, say, Monday next week before I think we'll see a big shift in this pattern in an overall standpoint. We'll see about that. But my gosh, the point here is, man, this heat is going to be really, really impactful. People that are not used to it this time of the year, this is definitely going to take a toll on the human body. So I wanted to show you all something that I don't normally show in this live stream, and it is the records right now. Now, these are unofficial records that I wanted to point out here, but these are in general weather stations that are either tying or surpassing records or coming close to breaking records. And man, look at all of the dots in California. All these red dots are indicating that either temperatures have reached daily record highs or will be approaching or breaking all-time record, monthly record high temperatures, which means the highest temperature for that given month of the, so we have 31 days of March. Let me make sure, we have 31 days of March. So what is the highest temperature in the entire month, right? And so if we break that, that is a all-time monthly record broken for that given location for the month of March, okay? And so we can see here in California, this is remarkable. I mean, lots of red dots here, orange dots. That means we're tying their daily record high in Sacramento already. We are breaking it here locally in my area because we actually go look at my weather station. I have my own personal amount of records that I keep here in the home weather office. So let's actually go to that. So if we go to monthly mode, and what was the highest temperature on my weather station? And so far, 83 degrees is the highest it's been. Let's go to last year. What's the highest it got last year? 86. So we need to beat 86 degrees. Actually, wow, last year was indeed warmer. Interesting. That didn't get a lot of people's attention. So we're going to come past that this March. Let's go back to 2024. Yeah, 76. 2023, 70. We had some missing data there on the station. 84.6. So 2022 was pretty warm. 81.5. So we can hit the 80s in late March, like 80 at most. 81.7. So, and then 2019. I don't think we got data in. No, we don't. So we only got 6 years back of data on my station here. And man, if we hit 88 degrees on my Davis, well, if we can pass 2022, or wait, no. Yeah, it was 2024. Actually, no, it was 2025 was last year. So if we get past 86.4, that would be an all-time, like 86.6 would be a new all-time record high for my station. So just kind of put that out there for you all that are watching this live stream, that even my area, we are going to be breaking all-time record highs here. So that's what we have. Now, if we go back and look at cities, so you can see all the cities here already. Let's see where we're at. Is this in Celsius? Okay, no, that's not in Celsius. Oh, okay, so this is in Canada. Okay, sorry. So we want to look at, this is just across the nation. So Santa Barbara, I want to zoom in on this. So right here, Santa Barbara, Avalon, by the way, 90 degrees. So that is, so yeah, that breaks the all-time, that breaks the monthly record right there. 88 degrees was the previous monthly record in Avalon, California. So we broke that in Monterey. We also broke that. Monterey right now, actually, it's tying it. It might be breaking it already. 87.2 would probably, because this is purple, which means monthly tied. Okay, monthly tied or broken. So anything in purple is either tied or broken. So we're tying that all-time monthly record in Monterey Bay. That's along the coast. Santa Barbara, 90 degrees. We're also tying it there. And then Mount Shasta, my goodness, 79 degrees. We broke the all-time monthly record there. Last set back in 2003. Fullerton in California. That's in SoCal. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, in Southern California. Golly, 97 degrees. We're already tying that. Wow. This is the yearly, I think that, yeah. So on the far right column is the yearly all-time record high for that area. Man, can't believe it was 116 degrees back in 2018 there. Burbank, California, 95. We're also tying it there. And then Santa Ana also coming to also tying the monthly record as well. And these temperatures are going to get warmer because it is only 1:51 in the afternoon. So we're going to see a lot of purples peaking here probably in the next hour or so. But anything in red is daily broken. So we have broken many records all the way from Canada into, well, let's not worry much about Norway, but even some record heat up there. But really targeting in Oregon and California, really taking a hit on this with these these daily records being broken, all thanks to this ridge of high pressure. So that's what that is. And so see if we missed anything here. No, we didn't. So that is going to be the risk factor going forward, is this heat dome that is going to be really, really, really strong. And it is hot. So a lot of people are like, oh, this is a nice day, David. Go out and take a walk. You know, I get it. I get what you guys are saying. You know, take a walk, go enjoy it, you know, while the warm lasts, you know. But the time of the year, you got to look at relative to actuality, right? So it is March. It is the 17th of March, and it is not the 17th of July. If this was July, I wouldn't be doing a live stream on this heat dome, right? Well, it depends on the context. Maybe a ridge that is this strong exactly in this position in July would probably mean temperatures would be even hotter than they are now, probably in the hundreds across just about anywhere. But it is, you got to look at relativity. You know, you got to look at, okay, it is March 15th. It is March 17th. It is St. Patrick's Day. By the way, happy St. Patrick's Day to those that are tuning in. And there is Google just letting me know that. Thank you for the reminder, Google, for putting that on my homepage. But it is the time of the year that we're in. I mean, last March, I think, if we go back and look at my station here, if we go back, one last look at this. Let's go back to last year at this time. I'm very curious. Yeah, last year at this time, it was only 59 degrees. It only got up to 59 degrees, actually 60, about 59, maybe 60 degrees. Not this year. Even the year prior to that, let's look at the year prior, 73 degrees. That's more where we should be. Kind of a little warmer than it should be, but you get the idea. Every day or every year on this exact day, it's been in the low 70s or upper 60s. Now here's a 59. So this is truly remarkable. Going all the way back to 2020, we had a 57-degree day back in March 17th, 2020. This is the one and only year we're actually in the 80s. So that's how remarkable. Actually, this would be a daily record for my area. Never mind about that. That would be a daily record because of what we're actually seeing. So it goes to show you just how extraordinary this is. And I wanted to show you all the map as well. Actually, let's use the National Weather Service because their stations are pretty good. And by the way, yeah, just to show you how unrelenting this is. Yeah, look at Arizona. Arizona is under an extreme heat warning. So you can kind of get an idea. Yeah, it's not 102 120 degrees or 118 degrees, but it's also still in the hundreds, and the lows still are at dangerous levels. At night for this time of the year, you should be in the 50s at night, 40s or 50s in parts of this area. Well, not this year. 75 degrees, that is really warm. That is incredible. So let's go and look at the observations. And there's that excessive heat or heat advisory, that is. Take this off. And I wanted to show you the temperatures. Actually, you know what? Yeah, there's not many here, so we'll just close this out. These are not official or not certified National Weather Service weather stations, by the way. So use this with caution, but let me zoom in a little bit. Man, this is not actually going to be very good. So might be hard to see these on your screen. Look at this. Outer Richmond District, 85 degrees right on the coast. Right on the coast of San Francisco, it's 82 degrees right now. So it actually cooled down recently, probably due to that onshore breeze. But man, did it get close to 90 degrees in the outer Richmond area for San Francisco. Let's go back here and look more inland. So like downtown San Francisco right now, you're in the upper 80s. Part of the Castro district, you're at 90 degrees. That's ridiculous. That is unheard of in San Francisco this early. I mean, it's wintertime. It is not technically spring until Friday. So technically winter, and it is. These are not what winter temperatures are supposed to be. 91 in Portola right now. Down here in San Francisco International Airport, mid 80s. That's ridiculous. And then Belmont over here, you're in the upper 80s. We got a 93 degrees there. I wouldn't say it's that warm, but at least in the upper 80s right now at this time. And then, look at this. Even Half Moon Bay, right along the coast here, 71 degrees. Moss Beach, 77 degrees at this given hour. And then you go down the coast here into, say, Santa Cruz. Look at Santa Cruz, 89 degrees at Natural Bridges. Natural Bridges in Santa Cruz, 89 degrees. 89 degrees. You don't have to go very far inland, and it is 90 degrees in the Prospect Heights area. Prospect Heights district, 91 degrees right now. You have to look at even on the pier here. And yes, there is a weather station here on the Santa Cruz Wharf. I've been there a couple of times, and there is a legitimate weather station. It's a Davis weather station that is positioned there, and it is reading 78 degrees on the waterfront here of Santa Cruz. That's crazy. That really is almost 80 degrees on the water of Santa Cruz. You can't beat the heat here. You really can't for the time of the year. Yes, it's not 98 degrees or 100 in Santa Cruz, but it is also not 50 or 60 degrees like it should be this time of the year either. So let's go down here along the coast here. Not so bad here in parts of the Marina District into Monterey. You're in the upper 70s, but man, you don't have to go very far inland. Salinas, 93 degrees. And then let's go further inland here. King City, King City. Man, 100 degrees. If it is 100 degrees there, that is incredible. 100 degrees in the Sheltered Wind Valley locations. Let's go further down here. Yes, Santa Maria right now, wow, 101 degrees. And then you go along the coast here. Look at this. Man, this is terrifying. The waterfront in Santa Barbara, 94 degrees. I can't believe that very much. Is it really 94 degrees there, right along the waterfront of Santa Barbara? That is incredible. We got 101 in downtown Santa Barbara, and then you go down the coast even further here in Oxnard. Temperatures there in the mid 90s, and then, man, you go inland here. This is ridiculous. 100. We got a 102. We got a 105 in Northridge. I don't think it's 105 there. That is That's astounding. Then in Arleta, it's 103 there on someone's weather station. Now, yeah, the onshore breeze finally picking up here along the coast here of El Sagnito, as well as Manhattan Beach. Temperatures already cooling down here into the low 70s, but earlier, if we look at a weather station here in Southern California, it really did get warm there. It got up to 89 degrees before the onshore breeze picked up here. You can see the big temperature rise here at 89, and then now it dropped back into the low 70s, all thanks to the onshore breeze helping to bring in cooler air, but it is also more moist. Look at this. You had a dew point in the low 50s earlier, and now you got dew points back into the mid 60s. So yeah, there's a trade-off. Yeah, it's cooler, but it's also more moist. It's more humid, making whatever it felt earlier about as warm, if not a little cooler. But where it is still really warm here is in Long Beach. Oh my gosh, in Long Beach, East Village, 93 degrees. 93 degrees in Long Beach. This is not just an inland heat wave. This is a marine heat wave as well, right along the coast. Seal Beach, 78 degrees. So it's cooling down there a little bit thanks to the onshore breeze. But my goodness, you don't have to go very far inland into Anaheim, Disneyland. People, instead of enjoying Disneyland, they're not liking the heat out there. Yeah, this is where Disneyland is, and it is 100 degrees right around that area in Anaheim. I've been there a few times. What a beautiful, gorgeous amusement park to be at, or a theme park, and it is hot there. In Yorba Linda area, it is about 103, 104 degrees. That's ridiculous. That is astounding. And then, of course, Cathedral City, we're at 105 degrees right now. Based on these weather stations, 107. We're at 102, 103 in La Quinta, in Cathedral City and Palm Springs as well. And then you go into the desert Southwest here. Phoenix is actually not too bad right now, where it is in the low to mid 90s right now. Further heating can be expected there over the next couple of hours. So expect temperatures to get close to the triple digits before once the peak of the heat arrives there, and it's only going to get warmer tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a huge jump in those temperatures across the area. But the point here is it is warm just about anywhere, even in the high deserts here. Let me take a couple of areas. Yeah, Austin in Nevada. Yeah, there's an Austin in Nevada. I've been through it a couple of times. 88 degrees, even in the high deserts here. That are around 3,000 to 4,000 feet. That is crazy. If we look at in Reno, we're also in the upper 70s to lower 80s. Look at this. If we go into South Lake Tahoe area, yeah, it's in the 50s here along the beachfront, but you go inland here in Myers, we are in the low 70s. Yeah, low 70s at that level. That's ridiculous. That is remarkable. At 6,200 feet above sea level, you're seeing temperatures in the 70s. And yeah, even in the 80s, perhaps in parts of like Battle Mountain there at 76 degrees. So yes, the heat is definitely here across the West, but then you go back into the Midwest. Your guys' favorite, where a lot of you are watching this from, yeah, it's not so hot. Woodland Hills, 20 degrees. Man, everyone in California would like it to be 20 degrees for once. And then in Kansas City, 34 degrees. But boy, oh boy, you don't have to go very far. And you go into western Oklahoma, where it is already close to 80 degrees there. So big, huge temperature gradient here that is in place just from Oklahoma, western Kansas into the Great Lakes region, where that heat is going to be building in. So I want you all to do me a favor. Enjoy the cool temperatures while they last. If you're in Iowa, because it's not going to last for very much longer. It is going to be warming up very quickly in that area. And actually, let's go to that. So with that being said, let's look at the forecast here, because this ridge is going to be a big problem. And we talked about that, right? So here it is right here. By the time we go into Thursday afternoon, yeah, look at that. a 597 decameter ridge. I made a post on this on my X page if you all want to check that out. Just how strong this ridge is going to be. This is remarkable. 30 decameters above average. 30 decameters above average for the interior west here. And this is going to continue for many days to come, but it's not until we get into Saturday when this high will finally break down to some degree and temperatures will come down a lot more than where they're at right now. I mean, look at this. We could welcome back the 576 decameter height line, even so that is still 13 decameters above normal for this time of the year. It is not where we are seeing these heights right now. Definitely on a better scale, and then maybe another heat dome building across much of the interior west again for the middle of next week. It just does not want to end here. This big heat dome, that is going to be a big problem. And then finally, we'll see where this goes by the time we go into the end of the forecast period on the European model, maybe showing a ridge going into the Great Lakes in the eastern half of the country. But that is in La La Land. That is in fantasy land, so we're not going to really rule that out. Models have different outcomes on this. But right now, the general trend is lots of ridging across the west here for at least throughout the rest of this work week into early next week. Had to unplug my ears there. So that's what we're continuing with here. Big ridge of high pressure across the west with cooler weather maybe there to follow. So now let's talk about temperatures really quickly. We got our 18Z model run data in for today, and I will tell you what, it is going to be pretty warm. Starting in California, look at these temperatures here. In the mid to upper 80s, we might threaten a 90 degree in some location here in parts of the Sacramento Valley, especially in the southern end of the San Joaquin Valley like Fresno, Bakersfield, Tulare. We could be looking at temperatures in the low 90s. Again, I want to repeat, this is mid-March. This is not mid-July, not mid-June, not mid-August. This is not normal. This is not what you want to see for this time of the year. So again, significant heat here across much of the southern end of the San Joaquin Valley. Also in Southern California, I'm looking at temperatures in the triple digits as well. All right, also for southwestern Arizona, we're looking at temperatures here in the mid-90s. This is going to continue. Look at this. Ridiculous. And then even warmer as we go into Wednesday. Look how warm these temperatures get. Probably a little warmer than what these are showing right here, between about 102 to 106 degrees. And then, of course, southern end of the valley, the Central Valley, possibly getting as warm as maybe 97 degrees in Bakersfield. That is ridiculous. That is crazy, crazy heat. And this continues all the way into even on Thursday, where temperatures on Thursday will probably peak, including Friday, where I think widespread 90s up and down the Sacramento and San Joaquin Valley, including the desert Southwest, will be realized. So really quickly, I wanted to show you all the snowpack here as far as this with this heat wave that is impacting the West. The snowpack across much of the Intermountain West, such as California, not good either. We are at an all-time record low in terms of snowpack right now. And in fact, if we actually look at the satellite imagery here across some parts of the Sierra here, I mean, this is pretty scary here. There's virtually no snow at all left on these mountains in parts of the northern Sierra at all. There's only a little bit of snow here. What is left in the granite slopes here of the Central Sierra at around, say, 11 or 12 or 13,000 feet. This is really, really bad. This is not good at all. You want your snow to be widespread up and down the Sierra for this time of the year, at least above 5,000 feet or even 4,000 feet. But what you don't want to see is your snowpack mainly above, say, 11 or 12,000 feet. All of it has melted over the last couple of days, and even more of it is going to melt throughout the next week. And I would not be surprised after this heat wave because we're not seeing any rain anytime soon, that virtually there is no snow at all to be found at least below 11,000 feet in the mountains. Maybe a little bit in the sun or in the shaded areas of the mountains, but it is going to be really hard to find any snow at all below those higher elevations. And the trolls are back on my channel. The trolls are back. Welcome back, trolls. Troll all you want, because we'll hide your butts. Thank you. So, significant. Oh, by So something that we are really going to have to watch is just how warm it's going to be over the next. What happened here? Okay, there we go. Just how warm it's going to be over the next week or so. Man, it is 84 degrees here right now. Let's break an all-time record here. Let's do it. National Weather Service Flagstaff is noting high fire danger next week. Next week. Wow. Yeah, there is a risk for fire danger. Well, I'm not surprised just how warm it is right now. I mean, this is bad. This is really bad with very warm attendant conditions across much of the Intermountain West here, on top of, well, no rainfall. There's literally no rainfall to be found anywhere across the Intermountain West, Interior West, probably until further notice. It is not looking good at all for our area. And when we take a look here at the ensemble forecasts from the GFS or from the Euro, let's look at precipitation here, because this is not what you want to know, what you want to hear. Really, this is not what you want to see. Coming off of a hopefully a miracle March, that is. This is not good. This is not good at all. Southern California virtually will not get any rainfall at all through April 1st. And no, that's not an April Fool's joke. No, we're not talking April Fool joke here. No rain at all to be found at all across Southern California or Southern Arizona. Now, yes, the ensembles are trying to hope and dreams for rainfall or precipitation for the Sierra foothills and mountains. We saw this last week. So last week it looked kind of like this, and I'm like, oh, maybe we'll get rainfall, right? Well, remember that was all the way out to the 23rd, the 22nd and the 23rd of March. Well, look what we have now. So what my point here is, each time this shows more rainfall, maybe a pattern change, it gets pushed back further and further and further and further and further and further and further. It doesn't move forward into the forecast. So basically, anything here, I would probably say anything like right in here will not stand a chance of getting any precipitation right down in here, probably for the foreseeable future. Probably going all the way out into early April. And really, once we leave March, okay, and we go into April 1st, the chances of us getting any meaningful rainfall really dwindles. The wet season across the Intermountain West really comes to a close. And so if you want snow and you want good beneficial rainfall, this would be the time, the last little hurrah before we get into April, because it is not looking pleasant. It is not looking good at all. You can see the precipitation anomalies here across much of California, just flat out dry, very dry across the four corners, including for Colorado as well as Wyoming and Utah. And not only that, even dry across much of the nation here, including for the deep south here, where the ongoing extreme drought continues to be a big problem over Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. Really not good. I just don't have good news at all in this live stream for any hope, land, and dreams of any precipitation for the deep south here, because the pattern just doesn't want to reflect that. And yeah, I mean, look at this right here. I'm seeing this for the first time, and this is really bad. You do not want to see an extreme drought for Florida, for southern Georgia, and then put this on top of that. Yeah, it's not going to get any better. It really isn't. I just don't have good news. I just don't have any hope, dream. I don't have any hopes in sight for you all down there in the deep south for any rainfall. It is going to be really, really dry. It's going to be hard to kind of come by with any rainfall. Yeah, you will get some precipitation, maybe half an inch on the ensemble from the GEFS, but the whole idea here is that's below average. That really is, and it's even worse on the Euro. Look at parts of Florida may not see any rain virtually at all on the ensemble forecast through April Fool's Day. That's through April 1st. We shouldn't have to be. We should be looking at more rainfall for Florida through April Fool's Day, but no, it's just not looking like that. And then to be specific here on a deterministic model, we're going to incorporate a little bit of the southeastern United States in on this, because I am concerned about this. I mean, look at parts of Florida, no rain virtually at all. Also, look at Mississippi and Alabama. Yeah, you got a little bit of rainfall with that severe weather, but again, long term, we're looking in the long extended range forecast. Overall, one little storm isn't going to wash your bones away, right? It is just overall, you have had a lackluster of precipitation over the last month here, and it's going to continue for a while. So you can see here in Louisiana and Mississippi, virtually no rain at all over the course of the next 16 days. And that means the drought, unfortunately, is only going to intensify further over the next couple of weeks. So again, no hopes in store for that area. As far as temperatures go, like we just talked about for the Intermountain West, I mean, serious, unprecedented heat, not only for that, but also for the Dakotas eventually. Yeah, you're looking at, Cloudy Jesse is saying, it's nice and cold here. I love this. Well, you'll think twice about that in a couple of days, Cloudy Jesse, because by the time we go into Thursday, it is going to be much warmer than average for your area, possibly into the 80s as we go into Thursday and even into Friday, as parts of our heat dome kind of stretch its fingers into the Dakotas. Man, actually, the Dakotas could have temperatures 43 to 45 degrees above normal. That is ridiculous. Yeah, you got some 80s coming your way, Cloudy Jesse. And that is going to continue even into Saturday. Look at this. Saturday could get close to 90 degrees in parts of Iowa, as well as, Sioux Falls, including for Nebraska, and down here in Texas could get into the upper 90s to low 100s perhaps for this time of the year. This is pretty remarkable. And then on it goes again. Another, lo and behold, another Arctic blast coming through the area. And boy, if I can pick any good way to look at this, the Northeast has done quite well this winter with at least average to below average temperatures. And if we actually look at the CDAS in terms of the last 90-day temperature anomalies, look at that. Really not bad. Really below average overall for New York City. While everywhere else, especially across the West and Colorado, man, temperatures have been well above average for this time of the year. Yeah, you have had some Arctic outbreaks, but on a 90-day average right here in this red area, that is Man, that is 5 to 6 degrees above the long-term average. That doesn't seem like much, but in 90 days, your 90-day temperature anomaly average is 5 to 6 degrees above normal. Let's go to here. Not as significant in the last 45 days, but really, it has happened in the last month. So it's been really warm down here in the deep south and also the Intermountain West. Now look at the wind for Wyoming. Yeah, let's look at the wind for Wyoming. Mainly talking about the heat, but the wind as well. Yeah, every day. Wow. Actually, it is going to be quite windy there over the next many days to come for Wyoming. Yeah, the Chinook, I think it's called Chinook winds, right? The Chinook winds are going to be really warm, really dry. Yeah, you got 60s, and then you look at your relative or your dew points. Yeah, not good. Not good at all for Montana. Not good for the Rockies. Very, very low relative humidities here. Yeah, when you get that wind that blows off the Rocky Mountains, it sinks. It sinks and it warms adiabatically. Anytime you crush a parcel of air from a higher level. So let me kind of illustrate this. So anytime, let's draw some mountains here. So you got your mountains here, your tall mountains, and you got your valley and stuff. So basically, this is cool, moist air that comes up like this, right? And it cools, right? So it cools adiabatically. It cools even more and it gets moist. And then right up here on the mountain, it's coldest, right? And also the air dries out. But once that air sinks on the backside, it sinks, it warms, and it dries in its process because, well, when you compress air, you're losing moisture as the air parcel sinks. And so that really dries out the atmosphere. And so that's what you're seeing here is really, really warm, dry air, a good EML coming off the Rockies here, overspreading the Midwest here. And that is why, well, you don't get thunderstorms, you don't get much rainfall, and it's just not eventful. There's no severe weather in sight, actually. And in fact, if we look at the Storm Prediction Center map here, I did not prep this very well, so let me go there. Yeah, the critical fire weather would probably guess that is in around the Wyoming area. Yep, Casper, Cheyenne with that strong wind expected there. So that's where you're going to be looking at it. Elevated to critical fire danger over parts of Texas and Oklahoma today. Let's go to day 3. So there is a day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6. Man, all the way through the next 6 days, there is elevated to critical fire danger in Cheyenne. Wow. So that is something to take into consideration with that wind. That's going to be very dry. And soil moistures are extremely dry at record-breaking numbers. And also, no thunderstorms in the forecast over the next 3 days. Hallelujah on that one. No thunderstorms in the forecast. If anything, maybe a pop-up level 0 somewhere on this map at least. Of course, it's, there'd be a thunderstorm here and there at some time, but nothing too severe. We go to day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, day 8, nothing. So as quiet as an angel you can get with severe weather. Nothing too exciting. The only thing that is exciting immediately now, well, exciting to some degree, but not so exciting from a hydrological standpoint, is the heat that is impacting much of the West. And boy, this would be one of those periods to really take a picture and snapshot of this. You got extreme cold that is unrelenting over the Great Lakes, and you just got the whole 9 yards of heat across the West. I mean, this is remarkable. This really is. Look at that temperature gradient as well. Very, very tight gradient. I mean, I can't believe it is single digits in 20s over Minnesota, and yet you don't have to drive very far, maybe like 5 or maybe 800 or 900 miles to the southwest, and you're in the 80s. You're in the 70s. That's crazy. That is really remarkable. All right, any questions, anybody? Any questions that you might have? How's everybody doing, by the way? Cloudy Jessie, you better enjoy the cool while it lasts, my girl. You better enjoy it. By the way, I want to talk to you today on Discord. I do want to talk to you and get to know you a lot more as well. And sorry I didn't get to you because my internet went out, which ended up just being a simple issue here. So I'm sure you're near Sioux Falls somewhere, if I remember correctly. Actually, I got WeatherWise to help me out with that. I think I got you on WeatherWise. Let me see. Please, do I have you? Do I not have you? Did my locations reset? Okay, no, I got you. Okay. Oh, you're much further north than I thought. Oh, wow, you're way up there. So you're near Fergus Falls. So let's go to Fergus Falls. See how warm your area is going to be. Okay, you're right. You're just south of Fargo. Okay. So I want to see how warm your area is going to be. Hey, it's snowing there. It's snowing. Yeah, so it is going to be 18 degrees. Wow, 45 degrees tomorrow. Yeah, you better enjoy tonight. Last bits of cold weather. 45 tomorrow, Wednesday night, and then on you go to the 60s by Saturday. This shows 60s. I'm surprised it shows 60s. That might need to get... Oh, well, you're further north. That's why, because I thought you were in Sioux Falls. But wow, 62 degrees for that area. That's pretty warm. And, yep. This is going to be the last little bite to those winter temperatures for your area. Now, wow, what a difference. Yeah. I direct messaged you, David. Yes, we can, Weather Republic. We can chat today. I'm feeling way better. I did get a couple of rude comments on my community post. I'm not going to take that personally at all. But some people saying just over internet going out, you had an anxiety attack. The thing is, you got to understand, I'm coming off of having of anxiety about a month ago. So my body is more sensitive. In other words, it's more prone. So that's why, anything little like that will trigger it. I don't know if it was solely the internet that caused it. I don't know, but all I know is I had another spell of anxiety. It was not as bad as it was a month ago. Believe it or not, it was not as bad as it was a month ago, but I did shake a little bit, all right? And so I want you all to please understand that it's kind of like a capping inversion, right? You have a strong cap on your body. It's hard to break that cap, right? But once the cap is removed, any little disturbance could set it off again. So that's why... Today, I'm pretty good. Yesterday, I was excellent. I was perfectly great yesterday. No anxiety at all. Probably the best I've ever felt, but I wanted to do a rest, relax, and reset. So I did my rest, relax yesterday and have resetted last night by sleeping 9 hours, literally slept for 9 hours, which is great. And now I'm good today. So that's why I'm live streaming. So I am perfectly fine. No more anxiety. No more anxiety. So I just, because it's kind of like a ripple. It's like throwing a rock in a lake, right? You'll get ripples, right? You just don't get 1 or 2 or 3 ripples. You get multiple ripples from that one source. So that's kind of what it is right here. So feeling better today. I take one day at a time. That's what I do. Today is good. Tomorrow may not be good. The next day could be good. The next day may not be. But all I will tell you is it's nothing compared to with what it was a month ago. I will tell you right now, nothing compared to with what it was a month ago. A month ago, I was not even motivated to do anything. I was not motivated to even go outside and walk. I was not even, it was bad. It was really, really bad. I felt like I was not even on Earth. It was bad, but I'm doing a lot better. All right. Wow, a lot of people tuned out from that. Sorry if I made you guys tune out. I am not going to check the 850 millibar zonal wind anomaly. I'm going to do my next El Nino update tomorrow, probably Wednesday or Thursday. Actually, let's do this. Actually, that's going to be probably on Thursday. Actually, you know what? I might do it tomorrow. I'll probably do it tomorrow just because it is the middle of the month. It is the middle of the month, so I'll probably do a video on that tomorrow. And then we'll make another video probably on the 4th or the 5th of April. Probably on the 4th. But I will be honest with you guys, it is not pleasant when I have these. It really isn't, and I feel terrible that it's like I lose out on a day where I could otherwise upload and go live on severe weather. And some of you were like, or some comments there say, oh, you're just making excuses. No, I'm not. If you want, I could live stream me having a panic episode. I don't think you guys want to see me. You'll be like, oh, what's wrong with David? Don't worry. I'm fine. I'm good. David, if you do another El Nino update, can you check it on Weather Bell? You know what? I'll just do it right now. Heck with it. I'll just... Whatever. I'll just check it really quickly here. So yeah, zonal wind anomalies are pretty crazy. Wait, this is not even optimized. What the heck? It is not optimized for this scene for some reason. But yeah, there's a lot of red. That's westerly wind anomalies, zonal wind anomalies at 850 millibars. Anything in blue is easterly wind anomalies. I will talk more about that in tomorrow's El Nino update. Again, I like doing these twice a month, every other week, at least, with every other one of those updates being a very big new package update, just because by early April, we'll get our next model guidance out from the European climatological forecast. All I will kind of divulge my secret here is there is a 90% chance of El Nino conditions for the fall and winter months of 2026, 2027. David, talk about the critical fire weather outlook for Wyoming and Nebraska. Now, let's talk about that really quickly. Man, it's been an hour. Man, time's flying by. Time's just going too fast. Too fast. Slow down, time. Slow down on me. So northern Texas and Oklahoma, there's a critical fire weather danger. And then tomorrow there is a marginal, no, wait, not a marginal. Man, I'm used to saying marginal all the time here. There's a elevated to critical fire danger risk out for these areas. Okay, and actually they did make this map look nicer. This is pretty good. Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of wind. It's going to be very windy in those areas tomorrow over the next few days. On the side of the windy weather that the hot weather that the West is getting. Let's take a look here at the wind forecast on the HRRR. Again, you guys can look at this yourself too. So Cheyenne is over here. So this is going to be for tomorrow. And you can see the wind here is going to be off the mountains. So even so, yeah, it's not 80 degrees, 72 degrees. And look at these dew points. These dew points are in this, the single digits. Really dry air moving here. And with that wind, any fire that starts here is going to spread extremely rapidly. Denver, Colorado, humidity values, 5% for the daytime hours. That is very, very, very dry. That is remarkably dry. Because, well, in Denver, Colorado, it's going to be 80 degrees. Would you look at that? 80 degrees in Denver, Colorado. 80 degrees tomorrow for a daytime high. That's pretty warm. Your dew point, 6 degrees. 6-degree dew point, and that equates to relative humidity probably as low as 4%. Virtually no water in the atmosphere. And also really dry here. So that is why there is critical fire danger. Man, it's one of those instances. Would not be surprising if the SPC did issue a very small, extreme level 3 risk here because of how low those relative humidities are. Hey David, Infomax 24/7. So with that heat dome being stagnant across the west, is there any sort of Santa Ana wind events? Surprisingly, no, because this is the time of the year where our thermal low kind of wins the battle out, if you will. So you can see here, despite, if we actually look at the euro here and go to our 24,000 foot level, by the way, that high is pretty much over you anyway, so there's really no Santa Ana winds that are going to be expected here. You can see the mid-level flow here coming out of the east, and then by the time we go into Wednesday night, that flow turns more southerly, so really not optimal for Santa Ana winds here. If we go lower down to 6,400 feet, you can see there for Southern California, not much in the way of Santa Ana winds at all. Let's go down here to 2,500 feet, 2,000, and down to the surface. Yeah, there's no Santa Ana winds at all. And this is that time of the year that any offshore wind events here are going to get less intense. Okay, now you're just spamming, so I'm going to hide you. Goodbye. I answered your question. You still want to spam. All right. So there is not going to be any Santa Ana winds. There's no fear of that at all. You're going to have more fear of how warm it's going to get instead. Now, if there were Santa Ana winds, this would be really bad for Southern California. This would be the air would be down in the single digits with relative humidities, but not this go around. Fairly moist, actually, around Southern California with dew points in the 50s, if not even in the low 60s. So moisture is really not a big problem at all in Southern California. And if there was even Santa Ana winds, fire danger would more than likely be elevated to almost critical just because of our soil moisture levels. Our soil moisture levels are really are in good shape. And you can see here, fire danger is moderate for Southern California. So even so it's going to be hot, the fire danger is not necessarily going to be overly impressive at all. We're only looking at moderate conditions here in Southern California, low to moderate, if that, for much of the region, just because of how moist the lower parts of the air mass actually are. And it gets even better after that with onshore winds for early next week, with low to even perhaps very low fire danger. So yeah, no Santa Ana winds. There's no concern for rapid fire starts at all. Now, of course, don't go out there and intentionally start a fire. Don't do that. Don't be dumb and do that. Then fires could spread a little fast, but not rapidly, like you could see if there was an offshore wind. But yeah, fire danger across much of the state actually pretty good, except for, say, in Arizona. And of course, in Cheyenne, there's that little purple area there, that extreme risk, very high to extreme risk for fire danger in that area, especially on Friday. It's pretty elevated. And then for much of next week, it is also looking at extreme levels again. I am kind of scared of that heat dome. That's really extraordinary, David. Why it's gonna be super hot this summer? Well, it's because El Nino is here, and this does not mean that it's gonna be super hot this summer. It really doesn't mean anything like that. Look at not last year, but the year before. That spring was cold, and we all thought, man, it's going to be a nice cold summer. Not. Once we got into late June, we had a parade, a marathon of triple-digit temperatures. The same thing could go with this. Well, just because it's hot in the spring in March and most of winter, well, not hot in a way what people think, but really warmer than average, does not disseminate that, it's going to be 125 this summer in Phoenix, Arizona, or it's going to be 135 in Death Valley, or it's going to be 105 in Southern California. It does not mean this summer is going to be a historically never-ending, record-shattering heat dome of death. No, we're not... It doesn't mean this summer is guaranteed to be the worst summer of all time. It might be, but I see this summer definitely being hotter than last summer of 2025, but I don't think it's going to get to where we were back in 2024, where that heat wave was pretty extraordinary. Where we reached 110 plus in many areas that year for the second half of June and most of July. Is a really, really hot summer that year. But if we do go back and look at that here, let's go to monthlies. Let's go to your June. And yeah, you can see here just how hot, actually... Wait, it was 2023. Man, it's been a while. Okay, yeah. So it was in... Okay, no, it was last year. No, not last year. Okay, yeah, it was 2024. So yeah, 2024 was an extraordinary hot summer, like 111 in my area. It got up to June... It was 100, so June wasn't as hot as July, of course. August, let's see, August, it got up to 101. But we got to understand. Look at that. Look at March here. March of that year was only 76 degrees in my area. It was a pretty good March overall. It was not a bad March at all. Okay, not a bad March at all. So, but if we go back and look at what other Marches were really hot, this March we can say, 2020 as 20, I would say 2022. That was a fairly mild March. But look at that summer we ended up with. Well, let's take a look. See, that summer was pretty hot, but not like it was back in 2024. Yeah, see, we only hit 107. But there were times during that summer it was 71. So you can't say that, oh, wow, it's a hot March means April is going to be hotter, May is going to be hotter, and June is going to be hotter, and July is just going to be hotter. It doesn't work that way, It depends on the pattern. In simple terms, when you get a ridge of high pressure, that what we're seeing right here, this is upper level ridge driven, not sun or solar heating driven. Yeah, the sun contributes to the surface heating, right? But it's really this ridge that contributes to most of the heating that we're seeing. Because our sun angle, really, you've got to understand, it's only 50 degrees above the horizon. During the summer months, it's 80 degrees above the horizon down in here, even the mid 80s. Actually the low 80s, that is. So it's not like, if we had a ridge like this that was a lot weaker, then it wouldn't get this hot, This is really done solely by the air mass. The air mass is working against the solar heating here, and that's why the air mass, or that's why we're seeing warm temperatures. If you think about it like this, let's do something. Let's go back here to pivotal weather. And another way to look at this too, sorry, I'm kind of branching off here with that question. Let's go to temperature. Actually, let's go to low temperatures. Okay, no. Low temperatures. There we go. This is what we need. So let's go to region. Let's go to here. So your low-level temperatures, not overly that warm. In fact, for the time of the year that... Oh, wait. No, let's go actually back. Sorry. I was on another heat wave already. I was ahead of myself. So 22 degrees. Okay. So put this in a context. 22 degrees Celsius in low-level temperatures, that's hot. That is really hot. But you put that in the summer, that's not bad at all. It's not bad at all. But why is it getting this warm? Why is it getting so warm? Well, because the temperatures aloft are relatively warm. When you think about the sounding here, let's look at a sounding so you all can understand. Look at the lower parts of the atmosphere here. You could think about that when you have a strong inversion, when you have really warm air aloft, you're able to mix that cooler air out from the surface. You're able to mix that inversion out this time of the year much more efficiently than if this were December or January. Which, by the way, back in December, we did have temperatures around 20 to 22 Celsius over the Central Valley. But why didn't it get up to 80 or 90 degrees? Well, for one thing, we had the Thule fog that protected us. And secondly, if it did get sunny, we would have temperatures more likely in the upper 60s, like 68 or 69 degrees. Well, actually, probably even 70. But yeah, 70 degrees, that's nice. That's mild. But in a climatological standpoint, that's pretty warm. That really is. You got to think of the time of the year that we're in and this and that, vice versa. Okay. So basically, the warmer the temperatures are aloft, the warmer it's going to get during the day, especially as we go into the summer season with solar heating that is much more stronger. Okay. And you can see here, so I could even use this to predict what our temperatures are going to be. That's why Saturday, I think it's going to be a little cooler across most of, or at least the western half of California, because of our LLT temperatures are going to be lower. And then by next week, you can see 16 Celsius. If we click on a sounding there, you can see we warm up, but it's harder to get temperatures up to 90 because look at the profile. The profile here does not allow temperatures to get 90 degrees. You could only mix the atmosphere up so much through the dry adiabatic lapse rate. That's why we actually go to Arizona. Sorry, this is a super long question, and it's kind of an educational one as well. So that way you guys understand how temperatures work for different times of the year. So you can see if we go to Arizona, this is how you can get temperatures up to 102. Why does it get to 102 degrees in Arizona, though? What's up with that, David? because your temperatures aloft are warm enough, okay? And then once you cool temperatures off at night, like here, you can see temperatures aloft don't change. Your surface temperature cools off because of radiational cooling. So when you heat the atmosphere again, you could warm temperatures up much faster versus if it were colder aloft. So that's why when we go here, look at the sounding again, it's only 92 degrees because temperatures aloft are colder. It's not going to you cannot warm temperatures up to 110 degrees and go super adiabatic. That's not possible in the laws of thermodynamics. You have your dry adiabatic lapse rate. That's what this is following. And then you got your moist adiabatic lapse rate, which is slightly at a lesser, steeper layer. And then, of course, yeah, you might see, oh, yeah, that is steep, though. That's a super adiabatic. That's a contact layer. That's usually in the first 100 feet, your temperatures will fall exceptionally fast. That is your contact super adiabatic lapse rate layer. So that's how that works. Thank you so much. So that's why you use the 850 millibar temperature as a rule of thumb to predict what your daytime high temperatures are going to be. It doesn't work every time. There's a little bit of errors with it, but it gives you a general idea that, okay, temperatures aloft are cooling off, so I don't expect like 9 Celsius here in my area aloft. I don't expect temperatures here to reach, even if we did super adiabatic, we would only get up to like 83 or 84 degrees under this profile. This is a pretty cold temperature profile here. Actually, yeah, it's semi-cold. It's not super cold, but it is colder than, 23 Celsius. That's what we're seeing right now. And then you get colder air here. So you can see here, 1 Celsius. Now you look at this sounding and you tell me, wow, 52 degrees, your temperature only going to get maybe 54, 55. There's a lot of colder air aloft here versus what we are just seeing right now. So you can kind of get an idea. I'm telling you guys, I know more about weather than anybody of you guys think. Some of you think, oh, David doesn't know much about the weather a whole lot. Well, I do know a lot. I know a lot of thermodynamic laws of physics, kinematics, and stuff. It is amazing. And you know where I got that from? Well, I got it from this website. I want to show you all. There were some updates to it, by the way. The 2D weather simulation. Look at this really quickly. So, you can see weather here. This is how we're going to end the stream, you guys. We talked about the heat dome. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, I wanted to show you all my post that I put out on social media today. This is the post that I made here, and look at the cities here. I wanted to show you all the cities that could just tie or break all-time records this week. You can see some of these go back to 1914. We got an 1879. Yeah, back in 1879, it hit 99 degrees in the month of March in Los Angeles. And that was actually towards the very end of March. So not only are we going to break 99 potentially or higher in Los Angeles, but we could break it the earliest ever on record as well. So almost a 200-year record that could be shattered this week in Los Angeles, thanks to this heat dome. And you can see here, 597 decameter ridge. That's not seen usually until like July or August. So this is pretty remarkable. This is unprecedented. So you guys can go check that out too on my X page at Weather United 1. That's the page you guys go visit. So that's that. So let's go back and look at this. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do... I'm going to warm up the atmosphere, and you'll see with what I mean by this. So we're going to not accelerate night. So what I want to show you all is it is 72 degrees at the surface. We're dry adiabatic lapse right here. See this, guys? See this? What we're going to do here is we're going to warm up the lower atmosphere, and you'll see why it gets so warm once we bring those temperatures up a little bit, dry out the atmosphere, and then we are going to warm up the atmosphere as well. So you can see our temperatures are starting to warm up. And this is a weather simulation that you guys could all check out. I'm actually going to put a link to it in the chat so you all can go check that out. It is very fun. It is computer intensive, so just keep that in mind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to warm up the atmosphere here and watch what happens. Watch what happens. What do you think is going to happen? So I warmed up the atmosphere. We're just going to do a quick example here. What do you think is going to happen now that I warmed up the lower parts of the atmosphere? Remember, we got up to 72 degrees. What do you think is going to happen? I don't want to say it. I want to see if you guys can guess correctly. Heat change? Nope. Try again. See if Cloudy Jesse can get it correctly. We get a cap. That's one of them. That's one of it. Yeah, a cap is one, but temperatures are going to warm up faster and they're going to get warmer throughout the day. So you'll see here. Watch the temperature warm up. Got a lot of surface heating going on. And by the way, this guy made a new temperature color map, which is really nice. Well, look, just think about how warm it's going to get here. Just wait for it, wait for it. Remember, 72 degrees it got up to yesterday in the simulation. So you'll see just how warm it's going to get. Heat trapped in the upper level mixes down. Yes, that is exactly correct, United Weather. You are smart, brother. But also, yeah, so you do mix that warmer air down adiabatically as well, and you heat up the overall atmosphere. You're mixing out that inversion. So the warmer it is aloft, generally, you'll get temperatures that are warmer as well at the surface. And you can see right here, if we go to our vertical thing, you can see the air being mixed. So look at, it's 80 degrees now. Where's our 72 degrees? Well, oh, it's warmer aloft. it is warmer aloft. So your low-level temperatures, so if your low-level temperatures at, say, 5,000 feet were 100 degrees, it would be very hot at the surface. It would be like 120 at the surface because you're able to mix that out. The sun, of course, heats the land heats the air, but it really is the atmosphere aloft that guides those temperatures. And it is 86.4 degrees right now on my weather station. 86.4 degrees. It is almost 87 degrees outside. And look how warm it is now. So we have really mixed out the atmosphere. Not mixing it out here because of the moisture, but look at how warm it is elsewhere. 89 degrees here. Look at this. 89 degrees. And you can see your surface. Super adiabatic. That's what we were looking up on the sounding. This is pure magic for my simple brain. Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, cloudy Jesse, you rely on surface heating. But only if there's moisture in the air. Here there's not enough moisture to get clouds. But yeah, it got up to 91 degrees, all because, well, your low levels were warmer. They were warmer. All right, well, man, I lost a lot of people. I bored a lot of people on this live stream already. Sorry about that. But any questions about what I just talked about? Relating to this heat, very hot air mass, which, by the way, this sounding is more like what we're seeing, actually. Really, it is. It almost is similar. You got temperatures at 6,500 feet that are in the 50s. While we're at 63 is about 51 degrees. Well, definitely a little warmer than that. But really does mimic what we're seeing right now. And then here comes your sea breeze. You can see your sea breeze coming in. Yeah, look at your dew point, 60 degrees. Yeah, you can get winds in this. This is a really cool simulation. This is addicting. This is a very addicting simulation. It is free too. All you need to do is click the link and you can... Yeah. By the way, Cloudy Jesse, I would like to talk to you after the stream via voice chat, if that's fine with you, to kind of talk a little bit about the other day and stuff, about the trolls and stuff, and kind of get that worked through. Thank you so much. Thank you, United Weather. Yeah, that's why I like temperatures. I like when they go up and down. We do live in a simulation in the atmosphere. Atmosphere is in fluid dynamics. Man, we just cracked almost 87 degrees right now. And it's only 3 o'clock. The peak of the heat is about 4:30 in the afternoon. So, man, it is... And we're going to hit maybe 88 degrees today. That is remarkable. That is remarkable. All right. Yes, United Weather, we're going to chat after I'm done with Cloudy Jesse. After I'm done with Cloudy Jesse, we will talk, okay, United Weather, because it's something very important related to the stream, okay? I promise, okay? I promise. All right, well, anyways, that is going to sum it up for this live stream. We were live for an hour and a half. That's what I wanted to do, is just be live for an hour and a half on this discussion about this heat dome that is going to be impacting much of the West. It is very significant. It is not pleasant at all. Pleasant for some, not so pleasant for me, because I'm not going to be able to go to the park this week. I'm not walking out in that 90-degree weather. It's going to be ridiculous. I'll probably go in the evening, just depending on how warm it is, but it's supposed to be like in the 80s until like 8 o'clock at night. Yeah, not so fun. And the bugs are out, the mosquitoes are out, so I just don't know what to do. Probably just to stay home and stay cool, I guess. That's that's probably what's going to end up happening. But anyways, thank you all for watching this live stream on the 17th day of March, 2026. Have a great rest of your day. And I'll be back with you more tomorrow. we'll try to do it. I'll make a video tomorrow, not a live stream. And then, yeah. Actually, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow because I'm doing my El Nino video. That's what it is. At least I plan to. We'll see about the data that I collect. But otherwise, yeah, see you guys back here tomorrow.